Malam Ali, you've heard, what our expert in studio, our professional architect is saying. I imagine that Wike can't just be speaking. Minister Wike, the Honorable Minister Wike, can't just be speaking, as it were, just anyhow he likes. Because we've just heard now that there's so many different aspects to following the master plan. And for some reason, the right thing was not done all that time ago. How easy do you think it is going to be now that people are there? Points have been, one of the points that you would have heard the architect make, I'm sure, is that if, for instance, the maximum height you can have in an Abuja location site is, 12 floors, and then there's one there that is 14 or 15 floors, for whatever reason. Why people do that kind of a thing, whether they didn't know, whether they did know, but they thought they were big enough to be able to pull it off. When we have those kind of things, and the building is already standing, it looks like there's going to be much anguish if Wike goes ahead and does what he did say. He's going to, apply the law and return Abuja to the way it should be. What's the way out of this? Because as we speak, I'm not too sure, but work has actually started. We have begun to see some pictures. Work has actually started. So Wike is in a situation of damned if he does, damned if he doesn't.
Well, let me just state right away upfront that Wike has the reputation and he has the disposition to walk his talk of pulling down any structure illegally erected. So he has the disposition, he has the will to do what he says he will do. He will walk his talk. In other words, if you violate the master plan or the building plan, or you have 2 extra floors above the approved number of floors, I'm absolutely positive Wike will pull down the structure. Having said that, I think Wike, in a way, also being a politician, he may end up finding himself in a catch-22 situation. Catch-22 situation in that he may, as an individual, have the capacity to do that. But you soon realize that Abuja, the FCT, is not his state, is not River State. There are so many interests at play. And because he's a politician, unlike El-Rufai, El-Rufai at the time he was FCT minister, and he literally became a one-man demolition squad. He, first of all, unlike Wike, El-Rufai had the training and he had the will, and he was unencumbered by political consideration. El-Rufai, like we all know, is a quantity surveyor. At the time he became FCT minister, he had not betrayed any inclination to towards politics, partisan politics. So he was not burdened by political considerations. There were structures El-Rufai pulled down, which ordinarily, if it were now, El-Rufai of today, probably he would not have done that. And Wike, unfortunately, or unfortunately for him, he'll be restrained by certain political considerations, being a politician, and still relatively young, who still nurses presidential ambition. So there will come a situation where you weigh in the political cost of bringing down certain violations, which are already standing. But again, another encumbrance for Wike is the training. He trained as a lawyer. He may be aware of the legal implications that may give him the will to do what is right, mindful of the legal processes involved. But again, because he lacks the training as a quantity surveyor, perhaps, or as an architect, that may be another impediment. But all said and done, I see Wike actually walking some of his talk, not all of it, where violations occur. And yes, it's important to consider some of the important variables in building a federal capital, a modern federal capital, like the architect rightly pointed out, we find people erecting structures in sewage lines, in electricity lines, and which is a clear violation. Who gave them the approval? But we also know that in the quality control department of the FCT and in certain engineering department, they are compromised. Some of the officials were compromised who may give approval. This is the biggest tax before even Wike now, dealing with the bureaucracy, dealing with people who would ordinarily give approval for others to build on illegal, on places that are clearly illegal, or going beyond the recommended building plan, like going 1, 2 extra floors when there is a ceiling to the floors allowed to be constructed. So it's quite a Herculean tax for Wike, unlike El-Rufai, who superintended over the affairs of FCT 20 years ago. In 20 years, so many things, like they say, a lot of water has passed under the bridge. Some people recall with nostalgia the days of El-Rufai as FCT minister. And what happened in between? Between the time he left office in 2007, for nearly 17 years, people miss the action days of El-Rufai. So these are some of the things that may weigh down or give Wike a boost in